Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video, I'm talking about some of the horror movies coming out in summer 2022 that I am most excited for. So Bloody Disgusting recently published an extensive list of all the upcoming summer horror movies, and I'm going to be talking about all of the ones featured on the list that I'm looking forward to most. So I will also link this list down in the description below so you can check it out yourself. The first movie I'm really looking forward to is The Sadness, which is coming to Shudder on May 12th. This one has been getting a lot of hype in the horror community. It's supposedly extremely disturbing, and it's a zombie horror, but it turns people into sadists, which doesn't sound fun, and I'm not sure if I'll be able to handle it. I've heard some people compare it to a bunch of films, including a Serbian film, which is a film I never want to watch ever in my life, but I feel like I need to give this one a try. I don't know if it's gonna be as it's gonna be extreme. It looks extreme, and I'm looking at the images for the film. It's bloody, so pray for me if I do give this one a try. Then we have Firestarter, which is the remake of the Stephen King classic. This is coming out May 13th to theaters and on Peacock. This is about a girl who has pyrotechnic abilities. She can set things on fire with her mind. She's super powerful, and the government finds out about her and they want to kidnap her so they can use her. And her father in this film is Zac Efron, which blows my mind because I know he's of age to be a dad, but like, what? I'm just old. I'm old is what I'm saying. Then we have The Innocents, which is also coming out May 13th. This is a coming-of-age horror drama that follows 4 children who are discovering supernatural abilities over summer holidays. I'm assuming things go horribly wrong with these abilities. Then we have a found footage documentary that I am super excited about. It's called The Found Footage Phenomenon, and this is coming to Shudder May 19th. And this is a documentary that is basically tracking the origins and history of the found footage genre. It's going back to the first films. It's going to be talking about Blair Witch and a bunch of other found footage horror movies, and they're going to be interviewing the filmmakers behind some of these films, and I'm assuming journalists within the fields who can speak to the power of found footage. I hope I will find out about some lesser known found footage horror movies from this documentary. I'm just super pumped about it. I'm excited. Then we have Men, which is coming out May 20th to theaters. This is from director Alex Garland, who also did Annihilation and Ex Machina. I still haven't seen Ex Machina, but I love Annihilation. This is about a young woman who retreats to the countryside after the death of her husband, and something follows her from in the woods. And I think it might be men. It might be a man. The thing that's totally creepy about this, and I don't know much about the film because I tried not to look too much into it, but from the trailer, it looks like Rory Kinnear is playing all of the men in the film, which it's just super uncanny. You have that weird feeling already from that, and some of the characters that he's playing look just not right. I don't know how to describe it, but it looks insane. Then we have Dashcam, which is coming out June 3rd to theaters and VOD. This is from director-writer Rob Savage, who also did Host, which is the Zoom horror movie that premiered on Shudder during the pandemic. This one, however, is set entirely on Dashcam, and it was shot on an iPhone. It centers on a woman who steals her friend's car, and she uses a ride-sharing service, and she agrees to pick up this elderly woman, and I believe things go horribly wrong with this woman. It's another movie featuring an elderly person as the horror focal point. Ty West's Ex just did that, so it's interesting that that seems to be a trend right now. Then we have Watcher, which is coming out June 3rd to theaters. This stars Micah Monroe as a young woman who moves into a new town with her fiance, and she feels like she's being tormented or watched by a neighbor. And meanwhile, there's a serial killer on the loose in the town killing people. There must be a connection there. Then we have Crimes of the Future, which is coming to theaters June 10th. This is the new David Cronenberg horror movie, and it looks disgusting, it looks disturbing, and it looks like it's going to upset me on many levels. It's about a future, it's a dystopian future where the body undergoes new transformations and mutations. And there's this guy, he's an avant-garde artist played by Viggo Mortensen, who is publicly showcasing the metamorphosis of his organs, whatever that means. And Kristen Stewart is in this playing an investigator who's tracking his whereabouts. And there's just a lot going on, and it looks disturbing, and it's gonna be filled with with body horror, which is not always easy for me to watch, so it might gross me out. We will find out. Then we have Story Game, which I just learned about. It's coming out June 21st to Screambox, which I believe is the Bloody Disgusting streaming service. So this is a horror anthology that brings to life 3 legendary Japanese ghost stories. 3 friends try to outwit and scare each other with scary stories while camping in Hawaii, but only one can win the story game. I just like that it's centered around Japanese ghost stories, and it's an anthology. It's one of those that you can easily get into. It sounds fun. This next one is one that I am most looking forward to. We were supposed to get it back in February, but now it's not coming out till June 24th in theaters, and that is The Black Phone. This is based on a Joe Hill short story. It's about a young boy who's kidnapped by this really creepy dude played by Ethan Hawke, and while he's in captivity, he ends up getting help from previous children who have been murdered by this serial killer. They somehow contact him through a black phone, a mysterious phone that is in the room with him. It's from director Scott Derrickson and C. Robert Cargill, who were the duo who behind Sinister, so I think it's going to be a good one. Then we have Bed Rest, which is coming out June 15th to theaters. This stars Melissa Barrera, who you might remember from Scream 5. She's pregnant after years of attempting to start a family, and she's on mandatory bed rest, but it causes her to unravel, and she must face demons and question her mental stability. So this seems like it's going to be a psychological horror thriller. Ooh, it's a supernatural thriller, actually. Sorry, excuse me. This is another one that sounds really interesting. It's called She Will, and this is coming out July 15th on VOD. It's the directorial debut of Charlotte Colbert and stars Alice Krige as Veronica Gent, who after a double mastectomy goes to a healing retreat in rural Scotland. There she confronts past traumas and a mysterious force that grants her power to enact revenge. It's interesting. Then we have another one that a lot of people have probably already heard of by now, and that is Nope, coming out July 22nd to theaters. This is the next film from Jordan Peele. I think details are mum about what the plot is about, but it looks like it's going to be set on a ranch, and it looks like, from what I'm guessing, there's some alien stuff involved. It looks crazy. It looks big. It looks ginormous. It looks like a blockbuster, so I'm excited for this one. Then there's also an upcoming Pennywise documentary called Pennywise, The Story of It. This is coming out July 26th to Screambox. This is basically telling the story of Stephen King's iconic villain, and it features dozens of interviews with cast and crew and more. Then we have Bodies, Bodies, Bodies coming out August 5th to theaters. This is a new A24 slasher. It's about a group of 20-somethings who gather for a party during a hurricane, and they get trapped and things go wrong. I believe they start getting killed off one by one. This one has an interesting cast, including Pete Davidson and Lee Pace, and it has a soundtrack from Disaster Piece, who also did the soundtrack for It Follows. I love their music, so I'm pumped for this movie. Then we have Resurrection, which is coming out August 5th to VOD, and this stars Rebecca Hall, who you might know from The Night House. She's amazing. She plays a successful career woman whose life is upended when a stranger from her past comes back into her life, and he brings the horrors of her past with him. Then we have Dark Harvest, which is coming out September 9th. This is based on a book by Norman Partridge, which I actually really loved. It's about a small Midwestern town where all the boys have to participate in this weird ritual where they have to catch Sawtooth Jack, which is this scarecrow-like creature with a jack-o'-lantern head. It's really weird, it's really brutal and fast-paced, and I'm excited to see how it translates to film. It's directed by David Slade, who also did Hard Candy, 30 Days of Night, and Hannibal. I love 30 Days of Night so much, so I think this is going to be the vibes I'm looking for. I'm so excited. Then we have the new Salem's Lot adaptation coming out September 9th. This is produced by James Wan, and it's from the director of The Nun and Annabelle Comes Home, and this is based on a Stephen King novel. It's my favorite Stephen King novel. It's about a writer who returns to his small town of Salem's Lot to write his next story. People start getting turned into vampires. That's all I'm gonna say. But it's very dark, it's very terrifying, and the original one from Tobe Hooper is excellent. And there you have it. Those are all of the upcoming summer horror movies that I'm looking forward to most. There's a lot more in this list that I didn't touch upon, and I'm sure more will be added as release dates are given to movies over the next several weeks. So I highly suggest you check out this list on Bloody Disgusting, which I'll link down below. Let me know what you're looking forward to most. I feel like we have so much to look forward to, and when people say we don't have any interesting horror movies anymore, they're not looking hard enough, because hello, we have a whole list of upcoming new movies that aren't all remakes. Let me know your thoughts, and hit the like button if you liked this video. Hit subscribe if you're not already, if you want to see more horror movie videos like this from me. I also talk about horror books and basically anything horror related. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I will catch you next time. Bye.